Welcome back to our Bluesy Water channel. This is called a neorhythm. It's a PMF device. PMF is quite an interesting category of holistic technology. I own three systems. I own several neorhythm products. I own something called the Sedona Wellness, and then a very super high-gauss PMF system, which is under my own private label that I get out of China. So I wanted to just do a kind of quick overview video on PEMF and kind of break it down so it's a little less confusing. So let's start with what it is, post-electromagnetic frequency. So essentially, the old systems is a bunch of copper. You send an electrical field through the copper, and it creates a magnetic pulsing, literally a pulsing magnetic field. Now, I'm not a science expert, but understand it's electricity going through copper, creating a magnetic field, and then you apply that to the body. So one thing that's interesting in the PMF community, so let's start with kind of the big fighting and the arguments where you might be getting confused looking around, is you have probably the most popular PMF system in the United States is called a beamer. Now, the magnetic power of the PMF, simply put, if you have very low magnetic power, it's like lying in the sand on a beach. It's a nice, soothing field, but the penetration deep into the body is minimal as far as being able to be a cell pump. Now, the beamer and those low-gauss systems, which, by the way, is a half a Gauss, roughly, claim that it works on microcirculation. I own a system that goes up to 25,000 Gauss. I own another system that maxes out at 100, but you could adjust it, called the Sedona Wellness. And then here, this on my neck right now is running at 25 Gauss. Now, if I were to move this back, it would be a trickle, trickle, trickle. So there's one thing to understand. No matter where you start at the Gauss power, every inch it reduces. It's called, you can Google this or Chat GPT, look up the inverse law. I have a blog, go to andrewscheim.com and look at the blog and go to the calculator, the inverse square calculator. So you can actually calculate if you buy a PMF system, 1 inch in, 2 inch in, 3 inch in, 4 inch in, 5 inch in. So this is critical to understand. If you're going to have a cell pump, literally, this is what this is. Think of an MRI. An MRI images your body deeply. It has to have a lot of Gauss power, 20, sometimes up to 30,000 Gauss, but it's running in the megahertz range, real high end. So it's not doing this because it's super high end, but it's actually imaging your cells. PMF can range from 1 to, depending on the system you buy, anywhere from zero point 0.1 in the Sedona to 15,000. The super high-end systems are much lower, like 1 to 10 hertz. If the Gauss power is strong enough, it gets to the cells. So if you can kind of just sort some of these things out, it becomes more simple. Number one, the inverse law. If you want to go deep and get effective treatment as a cell pump, you need more power. If you just want a field around the body, a soothing, nice field, first of all, it's questionable if PEMF is how clean it is. There's been arguments even with the Beamer people around the field being dirty. So if you chat GBT Beamer EMF, you're going to see these arguments. I've seen this all. So I want to break it down simply. Electricity going through copper, is there a potential, regardless of Gauss power, for there to be some static charge in the body? Is this the purest, cleanest field? The purest, cleanest therapy I know that goes deep into the cell is our Brown's gas therapy. That's pure hydrogen, pure oxygen, and plasma, fourth stage plasma, water, which is like a fog plasma, literally. This is an amazing, penetrative, beautiful, healing microcellular therapy. I get all this stuff around these therapies because I did tons of body work and I can meditate much more simply upon the actuality of these therapies. If you break it down like a child, it's so much easier to understand things. So again, electricity going through copper. It does the action. What's the action? It pumps the cell. The stronger the field, the stronger the pump, the deeper the pump. So you got to start with the basics first, understand the mechanics of the therapy before you go and apply the therapy. Okay, so let's I'm going to be a little redundant here. If you get a grounding mat, you can essentially think of, we have a video on this, and then this is the essence of the video. If you have a mountain stream going and you dam the stream, that's incredible resistance there. So think of the PMF. How do you break the dam? How do you break the resistance? Grounding. So if this is coming in, it's building up, building up, building up, kind of like a mountain stream against a dam. If it's building up some static charge in the body and you ground it, pulls, it's like breaking the dam wall. And now the stream is continuous. So in and out, in and out, in and out. It still pumps the cells, but it's not building up the excess charge. Once you know how to accomplish this, you eliminate, you can buy a beamer, buy any gas power you want, get that grounding mat. Now, if you go up to the super high gas therapies, you're not going to, this is not harmonious for overnight use. 10,000 Gauss or whatever, 5,000 Gauss, even 3,000 Gauss. Now the argument is what Gauss power would you want to sleep with all night long? Which system is the best to buy? This is a whole nother argument, but the bottom line is it's in the lower end Gauss for sure. The reason I like the Sedona Pro system, and now they have a new system that's a cleaner field, is that you can adjust the gas and you can adjust the frequencies. So you have control over two variables. The frequency, you can make sweeps, you can pick the waveform, and you can go from 100 Gauss, which is the max on the pillow applicator, down from 100% to 1%. The mat is around 35 Gauss. Remember, the beamer is just a half a Gauss. So if you ground the body, do you want to have a piddly mountain stream going through you, or do you want a more vital mountain stream? Do you want a vital mountain stream that's dammed up? No. But do you want to pass through a vital mountain stream going through your body? In my opinion, yes. I have seen over and over clients who bought the Sedona, they did not ground it, they cranked it up, they slept all night long, and they felt like crap in the morning because the static field was building up in the body. Okay. Move it along. You solve one major problem with all the PMF argument. They can argue till the cows come home, but simply ground your body. Okay, now think about application. What's your purpose for using PMF? This is so simple once you understand these parameters. Do you want, this is on my vagus nerve. This is a special vagus nerve therapy. This is one of the most, by the way, most sold systems around. Why? It's cheap. $200. But it works to a point. I mean, it's so lightweight. Is there a big magnetic hunk of magnetic field like the Sedona has a 10-pound pillow, 9-pound pillow full of copper? No. I mean, you do get what you pay for, but this does work. It's 25 Gauss and it's right on the body. It's right up against the vagus nerve. So it's signaling, the magnetic field is signaling to the vagus nerve. Now, this morning I woke up with a Sedona and I set it to a sleep mode at night, and it literally, the pillow behind the head, it'll help knock you out. If you have trouble sleeping, you put the pillow on, it goes for about an hour to a sleep frequency down the delta range. I do 1 to 5 sweep. It helps hypnotize. It's magnetic hypnosis. That's what I call it. Every cell's going like this. It's at 100 Gauss. It's getting in pretty deep into the brain. If you put this here on the head at night, this is 25 Gauss. If the Sedona pillow is 1 inch away from you, It's 25 Gauss, literally 1 inch away from my head. The Sedona goes from 100 to 25. This on the head is 25. For that, and for some, this might be too strong. Only problem with this is it's not a very big field. The Sedona weighs a ton. This is a featherweight. So this can be effective because it's getting that 25 Gauss into the brain. It's not necessarily covering the whole head. It's not like they should sell a helmet version. They do have a pad. I've used that. I've used this and the pad both with this system. Pad over here, this on the back of the head, 25 Gauss, when my Sedona was being fixed. And it did work. It's not like the Sedona, though. You get what you pay for. So the Sedona, you have a 8, 9 pound full of copper pillow. You set it to whatever frequency you want. It's got a specialized new paradigm. The Russians created something in the PMF world, so it's cleaner, it's more cell compatible. I agree with that. They're kind of keeping it under wraps, the proprietary nature of it. And then you have the big mat full of copper, and you set that to a sleep frequency. So the pillow kick knocks you out, the mat takes over at night. Depending on how much issues you have with sleep, anxiety, etc., you can defeat any system with your mind. I've learned that. It's very complicated as far as mind, brain chemistry, years of, let's say I was a musician for years. I had definite weird sleep patterns. So you're trying to retrain your circadian rhythm. It's a lot of issues. But just want to get down to the basics of what PMF can do. It can be magnetic hypnosis, and you need to get deep enough in the brain to ping every cell down into those hypnotic sleep delta, theta, etc. So that's a very important piece of PMF, getting the cells and the nervous system harmonized. That's where you look at systems like the Beamer, the IMF, whatever you're looking at. But by far, the Sedona has the most flexibility. You can adjust it. I think that field is now superior because they did something to make it cleaner, more cell compatible. You can, again, adjust the gas power and you can adjust frequency. And it covers a lot of territory. It's a lot of copper in that system. I still ground it. Even though the field is cleaner, I ground it. Now, what's so interesting is that it can put you down deep. You wake up, you're like, whoa, you're hypnotized. You don't want to wake up. You love sleeping. They have a wake up program. 8 to 70 is what I usually run for a half hour. Actually take thyroid medication. I'll go take that, come back in, lie in the 8 to 70. It's like 3 cups of coffee. So you've been hypnotized down deep into the delta theta. Now, boom, up into the gamma. You're sweeping from low theta, from high theta-ish. High theta is 8, all the way up to 70, which is high gamma. So this gets the brain woken up. It's fascinating just on the brain level alone, which I think is the #1 application for PMF, nervous system, brain, what you can do. If you don't have the money, for sure, buy one of these systems because it has a lot of programs, sleep programs, meditation programs. It's quite, but it doesn't have a lot of field. They sell something called their Neo Surround. That thing weighs a pound. It's not going to fill a room. They might say it does, but no. You're going to have to put it right against you. I mean, the Sedona pillow is 9 pounds, 8 pounds, something. It's heavy. It's full of copper. That's going to fill a field. But still, 1 inch away, look up the inverse law. If you start at 10,000 Gauss and go 1 inch, it's down to 2,500 Gauss and so on and so on, 2 inches. So if you start at 100 Gauss, you're down to 25. So not by accident they picked 25 as their kind of optimal frequency for contact on the body with this neorhythm. Okay, so affordability is a huge issue, and I really would say the neorhythm has benefit, but know what you're getting. I would say get this number one because you can put it directly on the head and you're getting concentration. You can pick areas and, you know, here. They have suggest where to put it. Frontal, looks like Star Trek. By the way, just as out of curiosity, just to mention, in the psychiatric world, they use something called repetitive transcranial magnetic stimulation, PEMF on the brain, basically. The parameters are 15 to 20,000 Gauss on this side, left side frontal bone, and they're pumping a ton of Gauss, 10 hertz. It's called trains, and it'll pause, and it'll go again, and then it does about 10 or 15 cycles, adds up to about 3 minutes, $400. One section of the brain. If you get skilled with PMF, you can actually, depending on your issues, treat the brain multidimensionally. I, first of all, would, if you have the money, buy the Sedona. By far, with that pillow, you could cover the entire brain, pick any program you want, and get deep penetration, but not overwhelming penetration. However, they're using 15,000 to 20,000 Gauss. Why so much magnetic power? They're literally trying to jumpstart your brain. It's for depression. It's pretty crude, to be honest, but since the FDA is involved and they can only pay, money's involved, you can only do this and get paid. And I mean, believe me, if you can't get paid, no one's doing it. So, there was all these supposed studies and blah, 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 blah. If you're got brain issues, contact me and we could discuss the application of PMF on different dimensions. If you have the money, I definitely suggest the High-gauss system and the Sedona. You really don't need this unless you're traveling, whatever. This is, to me, like I'm going to go traveling at the end of the month. Probably take my Sedona pillow, even though it's 2 days, I'm going to take the Sedona pillow, probably this. I can wear this on the plane. Helps with it, neuroregulation. There's a lot of stuff now also around vagus nerve. This is a vagus nerve. By the way, you started by going 1, 2, and it flashes. It didn't start. You hear a little thing, and now it did. Now I'm treating, I have a vagus nerve program that ran previously. If you tap it, it'll rerun the program. It has nice parameters. You can set the time. You can pick programs. You can use it independent of the app. Like I just started it. I don't need the app. They're smart. NeoRhythm is a good company, but you got to know what you're paying for. Now, if you even buy their mat, very light, the max Gauss is 3 Gauss. If you're going to go mat and you're going to go all night long and you're going serious PMF, you have the money, buy the Sedona. Contact me and we can go over it. Now, I want to be very crystal clear for Bodywork, for deep structural issues, for organ massage, like deep congested liver issues or kidney issues or prostate, big with men. With a high-gas PMF, this is extraordinary for body workers. Now, here are the parameters. First of all, ground. It's a huge amount of electricity going to the body. You can go up to 25,000 Gauss. You can treat profoundly into any joint. You can treat all the organs. You can treat the lymphatic system. And you could do this in a very short period of time. If you combine it with key bodywork modalities, you can do incredible self-body work, basically. So recently I had an MRI, not an MRI, X-rays, because my lower back, which used to bother me many, many years ago, really started acting up. I had did a lot of bike riding, and it really disturbed that whole region. That's not wise exercise for me. Exercise is a little overrated because it can create a lot of structural issues, especially as you get older. Got to exercise wisely. But as a body worker, I get that. So let's say you go out, you're 7, you want to try running again, good luck. So The high-gas PEMF system is amazing in that you can go right deep into the hip, shoulder. Let's say you have a lot of shoulder issues. It's amazing on tendons, ligaments, bone, fascia. It just hits everything. Everything is going like this. If you're cranking up to 20,000 gas, you can get 6 inches in pretty much and feel everything down into the bone. Imagine ringing everything. So if you're a practitioner, now you can do amazing adjustments because everything's moving. If you know the moves. High Gauss systems, great for body work, great for organ if your liver is all toxic and you're pumping every cell in your liver. It's like a kind of liver flush, kidneys, etc., prostate, and short duration. The more Gauss power, profound cell pump. If you're going with 100 Gauss, and I have done this, you're going to have to go for long periods of time, and it's going to trickle in more deeply. I had an Achilles issue that when I used to play tennis, and then the 100 Gauss pillow did help a lot. Remember, it was practically on the Achilles, so it was direct contact. So 100 Gauss close up is 100 Gauss. 1 inch in, it's 10 Gauss. 25,000 Gauss or 20,000 Gauss, it's going to go right through your Achilles. Do you need all you can control the Gauss power, by the way, in these systems? You have a 10% to 100% adjustment. And if that's too much, you can always use distance to reduce the Gauss power. All righty, so I have a blog. I'm going to post links to Wire to Ground, this is my PMF playlist, and also this blog on high intensity PMF. If you really are serious about PMF, and hopefully this will help, again, you got to move the field along. It's not the cleanest field, so ground. Number two, understand what your application is and what your budget is. Is it neuroregulation, vagus nerve, body work, organ detox, et cetera, et cetera. Then choose your system based on, well, obviously budget and application. Now, please don't expect a half-gas beamer to treat a bad hip. And if it has, that's your mind. That's just placebo. So please don't get confused by testimonials from people. I mean, if I had a testimonial that I hit somebody over the head with a feather and they died, it might be true, the intention of it, but it's a feather. So a hammer's a hammer, a feather's a feather, a screwdriver's a screwdriver. In the real world, we don't argue with that. But in the health and wellness world, we have insane debates. So you really have to break down, if you can, step back and understand the technologies you're working. Now, I just want to end with one thing because it's kind of like my closing sermon. One of the things that's critical is to be able, especially when we get older, is to get into the cells deeply. The 4 true microcellular therapies is 1, PMF. If the Gauss power is strong enough, you can go very deep. 2 is hydrogen, the most cell permeable because the hydrogen molecule is tiny. Everything's built from hydrogen. It's so permeable, it'll go through steel. Not that, not just like that, but it will go through steel. Number 3, ozone, medical ozone therapy can go blood systemic. It's a gas, can permeate very deep into the sinuses, the colon, do tremendous amount of work. Number 4, we have a system called electrostatic charge therapy. Essentially, it's like ozone. Ozone is lightning on oxygen, electrified oxygen or lightning oxygen. The gas gets infused, it's radical. The electrostatic charge therapy is a lightning field that goes directly on the body and cuts into the body and gets to the cells and affects cell DNA, according to the inventor. Very obscure therapy out of Russia, but if you're into ozone therapy, I learned about this from Russian ozone doctors. They're the only ones to know about it because it's out of Russia, it's very obscure, unheard of in the US. So essentially, there are other therapies that say scalar, this and that. This is much more nuanced. But if you're trying to actually literally penetrate a toxic cell, a sick cell, these are the main therapies that I know that get deep into the cell, and they all have a very important place. So each one has its application. Of all the microcellular therapies, hydrogen is the easiest to break in, great on homeostasis. It helps the body figure out its own healing. Not so good at all if you have candida or some fungal infection or a heavy-duty virus or bacteria. Hydrogen is not antipathogenic. So if you know your tools and you know what you're doing, you can achieve great results. Systemic illness is very, very tricky because it takes the most work and the most synergy of these tools. But I do want to, at the close with the fact that PEMF is one of four what I call major microcellular tools. I'm not saying there aren't like in kind field therapies. Let's say there's something I know, somebody I know uses a $30,000 machine called the biocharger. Well, that's similar to our electrostatic charge coils, which are very cheap. You can do at home over and over. He goes to a clinic and he tries to live there, and he's still sick as a dog. So it's important to understand, it takes incredible skillful synergy. Now, just one last thing, and this is the hardest piece. I've studied a lot of body work, so there's a lot of consciousness, energy, body knowledge that I learned in terms of acupuncture, meridians, energy flow. And the question, of course, is what if you get this in the body from the mind, what's going on? The idea of the acupuncture meridians is they are informational. The gallbladder liver meridian is anger. The lung colon meridian is grief in their system. So if you're getting intense grief, what's going on in your consciousness is causing a seize or a break in that field. So I do encourage people to try to understand the energy body, work with it. We have a lot of therapies that are acupuncture friendly or inadvertently go at the meridian body. So this is a real deal. Consciousness is real. People talk about trauma all the time, but the closest thing I know in terms of mapping out the subconscious energetically is the acupuncture meridians, and also something called craniosacral therapy, which is a biorhythm field of peace that gets impeded. There's a lot of interesting deep stuff in body work. We can help you with trauma patterns and trauma treatment protocols with various therapies, and that's intrinsic in all these therapies. The lightning therapies, for instance, work on fields that get blocked. Why lightning is so to speak, I call it a karma buster therapy. That's an interesting question. Why hydrogen brings so much peace is another interesting question. So really, if you actually dive in deeper and deeper and deeper, the core of a lot of these therapies is going at consciousness and trauma. But this is not discussed in most Chinese medicine these days. It's more biomechanical. The consciousness Taoist side has been kind of wiped out a lot, and it's a very integral part of Chinese medicine. I was lucky enough to study body work, and there was enough discussion around trauma. And now if you go online, you will see a lot of stuff around treating the nervous system, the vagus nerve. You're going to buy all these tools. But if somebody's interested, I am very open to showing you some body work practices that will help unwind trauma and get to the circuitry, the meridians. It's a combination, to be honest, this is a combination of body work and consciousness work kind of put together. If you do deep body work, you will evoke deep somatic memory. I'm a big believer in getting to somatic memory and helping it have a different configuration, so to speak. That's what body work is, basically. If something's like this, you're trying to get it like this. Why is it like this? You tell me. Lung meridian, heart meridian, if you're thinking that way, if your colon is seizing and you go, oh, that's grief. Now you ask the question, well, where's this grief coming from? And this gets very fascinating because, first of all, the why isn't as important as there is the information. There it is, grief. causing this. So you learn to have a conversation with the field. That's number one. The why could be many, many factors of stacked memories, could be genetics, patterns, you name it. But get intimate with the field. If the field is doing this, why not talk to the field, learn the language? That's body work. PEMF, to end this, can get into that field and wake it up. It's stuck. You can start moving it. Now, can you listen? Can you have sort of a self-intimacy with this? Start moving it, listen to it. It's not going to be comfortable, but listen to the field. And you know what usually will happen if you're good at this is you'll start to get a lot of memory popping up, all kinds of deja vu memories. So PEMF is almost like, I always say, in a way, if you think of Jimi Hendrix with a bunch of Marshall amps, the more amps, the stronger the PEMF field. You're ringing the stadium. PEMF can ring your body, and it's up to you what you do and how you respond and listen to the music when things start to ring. All right, appreciate it. Thank you. Take care.